So let's talk about some tips. These are just best practices, things that I think are really important for you if you are learning 360 photography or using it for the first time. These are basic beginner's tips, but I want to just tell you that it would be helpful if somebody told me this in the beginning. And number one is navigation. So number one, make sure that you maintain a really good line of sight between your first shot and your second shot. So that means that I want to see where I came from and I want to see where I'm going. And so camera placement matters. I want to know that I can get from point A to point B and not lose that thread of where I am in the room or where I am in the property. That's the whole point of the virtual tour, is to give somebody context for the property and to make them have more of a spatial awareness of how the rooms are laid out. And so, for example, if you place that camera in the center of the room, you may be too far away to see what's in the hall. Whereas if you place that camera right in the entrance to the room, you can sort of have a better view into the hallway. You might then also place a 360 image or a scan right on the outside of that door. But generally speaking, that's going to then, when you enter that room, open somebody up to see the subject better. It's like why we stand in the corner when we're taking a photograph of a bedroom or of a living room, is because, you get that sense of like, this is a great space. What a cool space. I can see all of it. I can my brain can understand it better. So I think that those are the things, so I would say, as much as possible, like, make sure if you take a center of the room shot that it's not your only shot, and make sure that you are always thinking about navigation and maintaining that line of sight. So let's pop back out here to where we came from, and we are going to go into our next section, which is 3D photography. So what is 3D photography? Well, the first thing that comes to mind for a lot of folks is Matterport. And so I am going to go into Matterport a bit today and talk about what is this company, what is it that they do, and are they the only ones? Do I have other options? And how do I sound like I know what I'm talking about when I am selling somebody on the difference between 360 and 3D? So the difference between 360 and 3D, and you'll remember this from, math probably, is that it is not just two dimensions, right? It's not just that x-axis or the y-axis, but we're adding the third dimension with it, which is that z-axis. That's the depth. That's what makes a square turn into a cube. It's the thing that is giving us dimension and volume. So let's look at this and sort of understand what that means. So again, like I said, three-dimensional media, X, Y, Z, and volumetric, meaning that it will enable me to, for example, take a measurement and visualize that data that I created in a 3D space. And it's phenomenally incredible to think about what this technology is really doing. So I mentioned point cloud before, but what is a point cloud? Well, a point cloud is what is generated when the sensors in that, maybe it's a LiDAR scanner or maybe it's an infrared scanner, but this is light that is invisible to the naked eye, but light that is going to be coming out of that device. And then the time that it takes, or the time of flight for it to hit an object and to then be bounced back into the sensor, is that time of flight is how it is actually calculating and computationally deriving a 3D or a point cloud, and in fact a colored point cloud when it comes to Matterport. And so that colored point cloud data is then what is being used to basically instantaneously, or after a very small amount of time of processing, create that floor plan or that map view, that 3D view coming to life on your device, a tablet or an iPad that you're using to scan. And so what it is doing is it's really creating this, point cloud, which will then be derived into many vertices to create a 3D mesh. And that 3D mesh is really the fundamental and foundational, way that computers are seeing objects and then recreating them for us on screens.